So I'm out here in the shed today, and this is pretty much where all my fishing trips start. I'm out here getting all my fishing gear sorted, as tomorrow we're setting off on a 2-week road trip. I say we, and that's because my dad's going to be joining me, none other than the fact that he's the taxi driver for 2 weeks. But I can't wait for this trip. It was originally going to be to Abbey Lakes in France, but unfortunately due to the virus that's been cancelled. So instead we're going to be doing a 2-week road trip to 2 different venues, which is Welham Lake in North Yorkshire and Linear Fisheries in Oxford. But like I said, I'm super buzzing for this trip, so I'm going to finish getting the gear sorted and pack it in the car, and tomorrow morning we'll be waking up bright and early and heading off to the first venue, which is Welham Lake in North Yorkshire. So it's came to the end of our first day down here at Welham Lake, and to be honest, there isn't actually that much to report. We've been mainly getting distracted by all the carp on the surface, and it's taken forever to get the rods out. With that out there, I'm fishing 2 up against the island and 1 out in open water, so I'm feeling fairly confident for tonight. But like I said, there isn't actually that much to report. Not long after getting my first rod out, I had a screaming take and I ended up landing possibly the smallest carp in the lake. It was about a pound, and it was foul hooked behind the tail, so that wasn't ideal. And then my dad actually lost a couple on the surface, and then just earlier he landed, well, an even smaller common. It was about a pound. So well, we've caught the 2 smallest carp in the lake basically, and 1 was foul hooked. So hopefully tonight we get 1 and it won't be foul hooked, and hopefully it's a little bit bigger than a couple of pounds. But yeah, my dad's just about to get food on, so fingers crossed that throughout the night we might be able to get a fish or 2. So we've got up bright and early today, had a bite to eat, and we had a good night's sleep last night. And the plan of action today is to get these rods reeled in, and we're going to be moving over to the island. Gaz has recently opened up the island and put a few pegs on there for people to fish from, and it looks really carpy, and I can't wait to get over there, and hopefully the action's going to be a little bit more prolific. We wasted no time in getting the gear packed down and moved it onto the island, just hoping that the carp on this side of the lake were going to be up for feeding a little bit more. Once we got over there, I wasted no time in getting a few mixes out on the surface and getting a rod cast out there, and to my surprise, only a few minutes later I managed to hook 1. Unfortunately though, it just wasn't meant to be, as a few short seconds later it cut me off. Right, so we've just got onto the island, And as soon as we got over here, it was clear there was a lot of fish here and a lot of fish in numbers. So I quickly put a few spums of mixers out while my dad fannied on setting up his bivvy. And would you believe it, I had a bite straight away. Unfortunately, it cut me off in the trees, so I quickly put on a new rig, got the float back out there, and straight away it went again. So there he is, the first fish of the 2020 road trip. It was just caught on the surface, and like I mentioned while playing the fish, we've just moved over to the island and there's absolutely stacks of fish out in the swim, all troughing on mixers. So I'm pretty confident to say that this isn't going to be the last one. But a beautiful fish all the same, probably about 12 or 13 pounds. So we'll get this one back, get a few more mixers out there, and hopefully me or my dad will be able to get a couple more. Right, so it's been probably about half an hour since we had our last bite. Unfortunately, the last couple of bites we've had we've actually lost. So I've made a few tweaks to the rig, I've made it a little bit longer, used a bigger hook, stronger line, and I've just hooked another one pretty much instantly. So hopefully, there's a few fish back in the swim now, so hopefully this is the action about to continue.
Salmon swooped in. Get in there, golden bollocks.
Right, so we've just landed the third fish of the session now. It was part of a double take, and like I mentioned while playing the first fish, I actually made a tactical change to the surface rig, but I'll run through that a little bit later on. Anyway, there's loads of fish out there. Dad, I'm desperate to get a rod out, so let's pack this up, get the fish on the mat and get another rod out. Well, the action's really started to pick up today. Once we moved over to the island, it was clear that there was a lot of fish out there, and this is actually our 6th or 7th bite. Unfortunately, we've lost a couple due to the snaggy nature of the swim, so I've beefed up the gear and luckily we're able to land this one. It was part of a double take, and I was also able to land a smaller common which I've just slipped back. But like I keep saying, there's loads of fish out there, so I'm going to put this one back and hopefully a 20 pounder won't be too far away.
Right, finally, on for the yaw lad. First one of my session. Nice one, this one taken on a zig. So there we go, just a bit of brown cork. Simulating the dog biscuit just below the surface. Winner, winner.
For the next few hours it was absolute carnage, and we caught plenty of carp off the surface, just hoping that a 20 pounder wasn't too far away. Well, I've completely lost count of how many bites we've had this session, but my dad just snipped to the car to go get a few things. I carried on surface fishing, and to be honest, it wasn't looking that good. The wind picked up, and to be honest, I wasn't feeling it. But all of a sudden, this one came up, just shy of the 20 pounds mark, and I'm absolutely buzzing. Anyway, the swim is an absolute bomb site, so I'm going to get the bivvy up and sort all my gear out, get them rods out for the night, and hopefully there's one that's over the 20 pound mark. Well, I've finally got the bivvy set up for the night and we're just about to have some food. And what a day it's been. We did lose a couple of fish due to snags today, which is just unfortunate, but we've put on stronger gear and bigger hooks, so hopefully tomorrow if we hook any more we're not going to lose with the snags. The fish have stopped taking mixers now, but we have seen the odd few fish show near the reeds and the tray line on my dad's side of the swim, so it does look like the fish is still in the area. Anyway, enough of me talking, I'm going to get the rods out for the night, and fingers crossed we'll wake up in the middle of the night with a screaming tail. As light fell, we got our rods out on the spot and put a little bit of bait out, but to be honest we were more focused on sleeping than actually catching carp, because we were absolutely shattered due to the amount of fish we caught that day. Well, it looks like the action's gonna carry on like it ended yesterday. We woke up this morning after a quiet night. I had a small mirror around 11 o'clock, but that was it. We put some floaters out and straight away the back on it. I chucked out a surface rod and it went straight away. While I was playing bat, my dad had to take on a zig. Unfortunately, bat fell off, but it's just being able to land another common around a similar size. So I'll put this one back, get my dad's fish out, and it looks like we're in for an action-packed day.
Okay, a nice little morning surprise there. Quite late again last night. It's quite obvious that the fish don't feed much either at night time. Picking up again where we left off yesterday. Lost one earlier on a zig. This is made up for it taking one off the surface. Not massive, but sign of things to come.
Well, we've just put them 2 fish back. I've came back in the swim, and like we predicted, there was loads of fish out there. So I've quickly cast back out, and hopefully, when it took the bait, it looked like a bit of a better fish. So hopefully this is my Yorkshire 20. But there's still plenty of fish out there, and to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if my dad's zig goes while I'm playing this one. Kicking off big time.
Great stuff.
Well, I don't think I need to say much more other than these fish are absolutely loving the floaters. And there we have it, the second part of that double take, around the same size as the other one that I've just put back. But since the action's died down a little bit, we're going to grab something to eat. And while we do that, I'll run through the surface gate and the bait that we're using on this session. Right, so since there's a break in the action, I'm going to run through the surface setup that I'm using here today at Welham. To start off with, I'm using a 12-foot, 3 1/4 pound test curve rod. The reason I'm using this rod is because I've had it a really long time, and since I've used it lots, the tip's really forgiving, as I think it's called test curve decay, so it's really soft and it's perfect for surface fishing. And on there I've got a small reel loaded up with 12-pound surface line. Today I'm using an 85 gram float, and that's because I'm fishing at quite long range. However, if you're fishing in closer, I'd use a smaller float as it causes less disturbance. Inside the float I've got a quick change swivel, and this is mainly just so when I catch a fish and get it in the net, I can quickly unhook the hook link and get the rod straight back out there with a fresh rig. Now at the moment I'm using a hook link around 4 feet long, however I have been varying the length of the rig. If the fish are feeding really cautious and they're not coming close to the float, I'll probably use a hook link around 7 or 8 feet. But if the fish are feeding really confidently on the mixes, you can get away with using a smaller hook link. On the end of the hook link I've got a size 6 hook, and I've actually trimmed down a Scopex squid pop-up and I've super glued it to the back of the hook. Now some people might like to watch the hook bait while it's out there, and I'm one of them people, so what I've done on the top of the pop-up is just put down a little piece of yellow foam, and that sits on top of the pop-up. The wind has picked up a little bit now, so I'm not as confident as I was earlier, but I'll carry on feeding the mixes and hopefully a few more carp will come up to the surface and we might be able to nick a bite. But if you come to a highly stocked venue such as Welham Lake, I'd highly recommend bringing your surface gear because you'll absolutely love it. Right, it's been a tricky day today. The wind picked up loads and the fish, they don't want a mixer. To be honest, when we woke up this morning and caught them first few carp, I thought we were going to be in for an action-packed day, but that just hasn't been the case. I've been trying all kinds, but finally the wind's calmed down, so I put some floaters out and I had one straight away. I've just put that one into the retainer sling, quickly put another float rig out there, and it's gone straight away. There's still a few fish in the area, but it does look like there's going to be colder weather moving in later, so this could be the last fish of the day off the surface, but hopefully we land it, and you never know, we might get a couple more. So it's been a really tricky day today, however we persevered with the mixes, and in the last hour or so we've been able to land 4 fish between us. This one being the smallest, so I'll get this one back and get the other ones out to show you. And here's number 2 of the 3 carp that I caught on the surface in the last hour or so. This one going £16 each. And there it is, fish number 3, 2 ounces under the £20 mark. That doesn't bother me one bit. It's been an amazing session, a great day's surface fishing here at Welham Lake, and tomorrow we're heading down to Linear Fisheries where hopefully we'll be able to get this one's brother. But it's been a brilliant session, so let's get this one set back, have an early night, and tomorrow morning we're going down to Oxford. Well, we're approaching our third and final night down here at Welham Lake, and what a session it's been. I've completely lost track of how many bites we've had between me and my dad, and it's been a great session, and it's definitely one that I'm not going to forget. Today's been a bit weird. To start off with, there was loads of fish on the surface and we were able to get a few quick fish. However, once the wind picked up, the fish just left the area and we couldn't find a single fish anywhere. I then tried stalking in a peg next door where I'd seen a couple of fish crash yesterday evening, but I didn't catch anything, so I went back to the swim, carried on putting out mixes, and eventually the wind calmed down enough for the fish to start coming up and taking mixes again. However, like I mentioned while holding that third fish, tomorrow we're heading down to Oxford. So what I'm going to do tonight is reel in my rod so I'll get a good night's sleep, have a decent meal so I'm all re-energised, and tomorrow we're going down to Linear Fisheries. Once again, the light began to fall over the lake, and as my dad set his traps for one last time, I reeled in the rods and reflected on how great the session had been. I was really excited for Linear Fisheries, so I went to bed early, dreaming of the possibilities of possibly catching a £50 UK carp. Right, so we've came down to Linear Fisheries. We had a brilliant session down at Welham Lake, but we've came down here. We've actually been here for 24 hours and this is our first fish. It has been quite slow, but finally it looks like we're getting on the bait. We've seen a couple of fish over the area, and not long after the middle rod went off with this one. So I'll get this one slipped back and hopefully there's many more to come. It was only a few hours later since slipping back that small common until we heard an alarm screaming from Reese's swim, and it was able to get off the mark with this perfect £27 mirror. With several nights still ahead of us, we all hoped that a monster carp from Oxley's wasn't going to be too far away. Little did we know, this would only be a few hours later. Oh, new PB, 33.3. That's it. Well done, mate. So, the session got off to a great start with Reese landing 3 fish, with 2 of them being over £30 and myself catching 2 smaller carp. However, once slipping back that small mirror, it was actually 48 hours later until we got our next bit of action. Hey.
Well, at last I'm off the mark. Not a monster by any shot, but pleased to get one in the net finally. Let's hope there's going to be more coming.
It was actually my dad who caught the first and second fish of that day. However, we all knew with the air pressure dropping and a few fish starting to show over the areas, it wasn't going to be too long until the fishing really kicked off. And there we have it, the second part of our double take. This one going £26 to the biggest fish of the road trip so far, and it's most definitely the prettiest carp that I've ever caught. But there's much bigger fish and much prettier fish in this lake, so let's get this one slipped back and hopefully one of those carp aren't too far away. Go on, son! Way! That day was absolute carnage, and once the weather moved in, between myself, Reese and my dad, we managed to get 16 takes in no matter than 6 hours.
So this is the fourth one for me now. Only a small one at about 17.5 £, but it's an absolute cooler. It's got a big set of shoulders on it, and we've now decided to name him Boris.
It was strange, despite having such a great day's fishing, once it went dark we didn't hear another fish up our end of the lake, and we didn't actually get another take for around 36 hours. We're not sure what caused this, however we kept the bait going in and just hoped that the fish would move back onto our baited spots and we'd be able to catch a couple of fish. So we're coming... Who's messaging me now? Right, so we're coming into the evening now, and to be honest, it's been a really quiet day. We haven't seen any fish show down this end of the lake, and typically Tom Maker has been down the other end of the lake and has absolutely smashed it. But luckily he's packed up now, so hopefully all the carp are going to off his baiting spot and we're going to be able to catch a few. Oh. In the morning, Reese spotted a couple of fish down to his right, so decided to chuck a couple of single hook baits at them to try and nick a bite. This paid off really quickly, and only about 20 minutes later, he managed to slip the net under a nice low 20 mirror. With the fish proceeding to carry on showing down to his right and in front of Reese's swim, he decided to chuck his rod back out there, and it only took around 10 minutes before the other rod was away.
not long after putting that one back, about half hour ago, this one has now decided to rip off. And about 5 minutes after this one went in the net, the other one's gone off. So we've got another nice little mirror to show you straight after this one, but they seem to be really getting on the feed now. It's a bit early. So here we are, this is the fourth bite of the morning, the third fish landed. Absolute mint little fish, just as pretty as the last one I just put back. But we're really hoping now that there's some bigger fish in the area and hopefully they're just going to come along and take out the bait.
Next, my dad slipped the net under this lovely upper double mirror. With Reese and my dad catching and me not having anything, I was left with my head in my hands thinking what the f*** I was doing wrong. However, I decided not to get too down, get the rods back out there, put a little bit more bait in and just try and nick a bite. Throughout the day we all tried super hard, but nothing was to show for our efforts. However, just in the evening, Reese managed to catch this perfect mid-20 mirror, but little did we know that this was going to be the last of the action for another 48 hours. So it's been a really quiet day today. Reese managed to catch one last night, just a small common around 16-17 pounds. But like I said, it's been a really quiet day. There's been quite a few fish on the surface, but we haven't been able to get them taking mixes. So I actually found a new spot closer in, introduced a little bit of bait, and 2 hours later it's ripped off with this one. The first 30 of the trip for myself at £30 4 ounce, so I'm absolutely made up with that, but hopefully a bigger common isn't too far away. In the morning, my dad managed to catch this perfect common, and he also landed shortly after a mirror around a similar size. Once again though, it was Reese who stole the show and he landed this lovely mid-20 mirror.
So after a very quiet couple of days, I've managed to have this one and Phil's also managed to have two. It's been really hard for the last couple of days, not very many fish at all, but hopefully now the fish are going to get on the feed. It's going to be hot today, so maybe some zigs as well, but at the minute it looks like they're getting on the feed a little bit. So not long after sticking the rod back out, 10 minutes later, this lovely 22-pound-8 common has decided to pick up my hookbait. It looks like there's more fish out there now fizzing on the spot and sticking at the spot, so I don't think too far away there's going to be another one.
At this point of the trip, we were all absolutely shattered. We'd done over a week's fishing, and to be honest, all we could think about was sleeping. Early evening though, I managed to receive a take and I landed this really nice mirror just shy of the £20 mark. But little did I know that this was going to be one of the last fish of the road trip. So this is the rig that we've been using on this session. The rigs that me and Reese have been using are really simple, so I'm just going to run through the rig that I've been using. To start off as hook bait, we've just been using 12mm Scopex squid wafters, and throughout this session we've been changing the colour of the corn on top. We've been using red, yellow, white. We've tried all kinds, and to be honest we haven't found a colour that's brought more bites, but on this rig I've got a yellow one. As for hook, I've got a size 4 Fang X, but I know that Reese has been using the size 4 Twister. Then as for hook link, I'm using £20 skin link at around 7 or 8 inches, and I've just got a little bit stripped back by the hook and a bit of putty just to help the hook turn in the fish's mouth. Also on the hook I've just got a little piece of shrink tube, and on the other end of the rig I've got an anti-tangle sleeve with a loop. The loop's just there so I can quickly change it onto the quick change swivel on my leader, so if I get a fish in the net I can quickly unlink the hook link, get a new rig back out on the spot really quickly. So that's the rig we've been using. It's really simple and it's caught us plenty of fish on this session, so I'm going to get it back out there and hopefully it won't be too long until we get another fish. We all sat down for the final night and decided to order a takeaway to celebrate how great the road trip had been so far. However, the big comment was always in the back of our minds, and with it being a full moon, anything is possible.
Right, so we come into the final morning now and it looks like it's going to be a productive one. Phil managed 2 last night, including the new PV, and I've just managed this one. And I've also got another one in the net which is just a bit bigger. So hopefully it's going to kick off and we're going to catch a few more fish today.
You bring my heart to life again. Now I can see an ultraviolet.
So this is the biggest one of the two at £25. There don't seem to be as many fish in the area today, but it still looks like it's good for a bite. So hopefully we're going to catch some more, but if not, this is the perfect fish to end.
Right, so my dad's just in the bivvy at the moment, and he actually managed to catch 2 fish last night. One was £21 and the other one was a new PB of £22.14. And it's took him 6 years to break his PB, but since it was 2 o'clock in the morning I thought I'd let him off and not put the bucket over his head. But like I said, he's in the bivvy now, so we're going to get him on this chair, we're going to do a fake interview or something, and we're going to give him the bucket of water. Sorry Dad.
Right, well...
Nah, could you just move that mat?
Hey! Oh, if I didn't know, I'd have put me all close. You little I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna crack your heads together.
It's a fact he didn't click on.
I'm saying that's my dad.
So that's it, we've came to the end of the session down here at Oxley's. It's been a fantastic week, having a nice social with Reese and his dad. Unfortunately we didn't have the ending that we wanted, but Reese did manage a nice £25 this morning, so at least we're all going home with fish under our belt. But it's been a brilliant trip down to Welham Lake where we smashed loads of carp off the surface, and then the week down here at Linear Fisheries. But like I mentioned, the car's packed, so my dad's going to be behind the steering wheel. I'm going to get a nice 6-hour kick, and yeah, it's time for home. So cheers for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
you.